Z-Tron has the contract, let Paco know. He can breathe. All right. Thanks to our radio committee for that, by the way, as well. And I think part of them just left the room, but we appreciate all the hard work those guys did. Up next on our agenda is our general public comment portion of the meeting tonight, and nobody had signed up for that, so at this time I'd entertain a motion that we close public comment.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wyatt, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chairman Garrison. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Public comment is now officially closed. Up next is our public hearing for the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget ordinance, and I believe that is going to be County Manager Rod Honeycutt.
Right, sir.
Colonel, the floor is yours.
All right, gentlemen, tab 4 in your book is a proposed budget ordinance. Good evening, gentlemen. Let me begin by thanking the department, the directors, and the managers for their proactive participation in the FY 24-25 budget decision recommendation process. Especially want to thank Madam Finance Director Carrie Ledford for her diligence in putting up with me throughout these meetings for the FY 24-25 budget presented on May 20th. It is a product of 2 department level workshops and 7 commissioner level meetings. Proposed FY 25 budget reflects the priorities that you have outlined during those 7 commissioner level meetings. The FY 24-25 budget of $68,798 is based on a 0.036 mill rate. This is a 3% increase compared to FY 24 to $32,076,975, or an increase of $991,823. Development of the FY 24-25 budget during a property reevaluation year added complexity. North Carolina General Statute 159.11 required a revenue neutral statement for comparison purposes. The revenue neutral statement compares property tax revenue that would have been generated using the same mill rate and collection rate from the previous year. Based on the addition of 293 new construction permits in FY 23, the projected tax revenue at 0.050 mill rate of 0.50 would have generated $13,756,994 at a correction rate of 97.1. This is an increase of $1.85 million over the FY 23-24 budget of $12,671,000. The recommended FY 24-25 mill rate of 0.036 will generate $13,283,000 in property tax revenue. This is a $473,994 decrease than it was from the FY 23-24 revenue neutral property tax rate of $13,756,994. The main takeaway is we're operating just over $400,000 less than property neutral to reduce the tax burdens on the taxpayer. Gentlemen, as you well know, the consumer price index is higher now than it has been for the previous budget cycle. As a result, incremental fund increases are necessary in some of our department operating accounts. 2 external drivers had influence over the FY 24 budget. The first was the North Carolina Medicaid Expansion Program and the Federal Labor Standard Act, which increased the minimum wage of exempt employees. The North Carolina Medicaid expansion alone added $422,000 to the projected budget of the $991,000. So probably half was mandated by the state in this year's budget. Several internal drivers included in this year's budget: employee recruiting and retention, specifically and across the board between 1% and 3% increase for all employees, with the exception of a few targeted employees who got 5% increases. Increasing the minimum wage to $13 an hour and establishing an employee longevity bonus to be paid out between November and December as a morale and recruiting booster. Services, the FY 25 proposed budget reflects maintaining current and increased levels of public safety, veteran services, child support, medical and social, plus animal control, parks and recreation, public libraries, soil and water, educational, solid waste, and transportation services. For procurement, this budget allows us to fund to keep our vehicles and information technology replacements on track. It allocates additional funds for repair and maintenance, intending to keep county vehicles and IT in operation for as long as possible. Gentlemen, in closing, I'm pleased to announce that for the second year, our team has operated fiscally responsible without relying on contingency funds to balance the budget. We continue to operate within the revenue that we have generated. I respectfully request your consideration in adopting the FY 24-25 budget presented on 20 May and posted on the county website. You have a copy of the budget ordinance in front of you, which is also posted on the county website. Gentlemen, subject to question and guidance, this completes my remarks.
Anybody have any questions for the Colonel? Just for the public's knowledge and take home is the millage rate or the tax rate, whichever you prefer to refer to it as, under the proposed budget will go from 0.50 to 0.36. So that is not, I mean, that's not a minor cut. That's a major cut in the millage rate. So want to thank our department heads. I want to thank our county staff. I want to thank the Colonel for all the work that was put into this budget. Carrie and Amanda and Mandy and Brandy and Hannah and everybody that had a role in it. And I'm sure I forgot somebody, and I'm probably gonna get chastised for forgetting somebody. I didn't mean to forget anybody. Didn't mean to leave anybody out. But I know all the folks there at Elizabeth Lane had a lot to do with working on this budget, putting it together. This is, I believe, my 8th, maybe 9th budget. It's my 9th budget cycle in this county. And by far, this has been the best organized and probably from a commissioner standpoint, the easiest process I've been through. So I want to thank and commend staff for that. And that being said, we now need to open the floor up for public comment. Now, this public comment is specific and only pertaining to the budget as presented by the county manager. There was no one that had signed up for public comment prior to the beginning of this meeting. But pursuant to our rules for public comment in a public hearing such as this, if there is anyone that is present that would like to speak to the budget presentation by Colonel Honeycutt, you may make your way to the podium at this time. You still have the standard 3 minutes, and Madam Clerk will be the timekeeper if anybody's so interested in doing so. Seeing no activity and hearing no one voice any interest in doing so, I will entertain a motion that the public comment portion of the budget ordinance hearing be closed.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wyatt. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hensley. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of closing public comment? Public comment portion is closed. Now we have board discussion, and I spoke a little bit out of order, but I apologize for that. Is there anyone else on this board that would like to discuss the budget process, or anything strictly pertaining to the budget?
I'd like to say a word.
Commissioner Briggs, go right ahead. You're recognized.
I certainly appreciate what you ladies and the county managers. See, we've met a dozen times, and look just think of the time that they've spent. And, when you got $33 million to try to distribute over, that's not a lot of money when you compare with Buncombe County, which is $600+ million, and the city of Asheville, which is another $300 almost. We're comparing $33 million, because we're a bedroom county, so to speak, to Buncombe County, to $1 billion with a B. So you see what we're up against, and I just think they've done a tremendous job on this budget. And I've been in a few budgets, but Mr. Chairman says, this is one of the best ones that I've witnessed, and it was laid out, and even I could understand it. So, thank you again.
Anybody else like to make any comments?
Well, I'd like to say that it's probably very important to let the public know that, so your tax rate's gonna go from 50 cents to 36 cents down. So we looked at it, and I've crunched the numbers, and I'm a numbers guy. If you go down to 35 cents, that's more or less you're not collecting as much taxes as you did last year off your real estate. Then you take into consideration that your vehicle taxes is gonna go down. So we're not collecting as much off of vehicle taxes neither. So when you get your tax bill, your taxes probably gonna go up, but it's gonna be as close to revenue neutral as we can get it. Because we had to go up 30 to 36 cents. Like I said, 35 was, am I right? I mean, more revenue neutral, but if you consider the vehicle tax that we lost, we had to go up another cent, so it'll equal out. So just so the public knows that we didn't go up on taxes.
That's something to say. That's something I've said. I'd like to thank all you guys over there on Elizabeth Lane. I'll reiterate Matt's, not to overstep, but appreciate all the work that you guys have done. It was a hard job. And appreciate the commissioners for their due diligence and really scrutinizing these numbers and not just passing stuff off. But for the public, you know, this was a hard year, a reappraisal year of our real property, and we want you guys, we want to be there for you. And there is going to be some stuff. We've got cards that we'll be handing out for the reappraisal. If you have issues, we're going to meet with you, and we have dates, and it's called the Board of Equalization and Review Schedule. So if you have some issues with your property values, come see us. So, but I just want to thank everybody and the board. It was a really well organized budget year, budget time.
So I'll reiterate on that. Just one thing too is that keep in mind, if once the appraisal, the revaluations hit the mail, if you have any questions or concerns about those revaluations, first and foremost, encourage you to reach out directly to the tax office.
Yes.
The tax office can potentially handle your problem over the phone with the appraisers that are still going to be remaining with us for a period of time. The appraisers, I should say, are the ones that are best suited for answering questions about their work. If you have concerns or you think an error was made, the appropriate time to do that would be right away when the appraisers are still here, because it's easier for them to figure out if a mistake was made than it is for us to go back at the Board of Equalization and Review and have to try to determine whether a mistake was made or whether somebody's just being unreasonable or somebody just doesn't like what they're having to hear. So I would encourage each and every one of you that have any questions or concerns or problems once the revaluations come out, please reach out to the tax office first. If the tax office and the appraisers, the subcontracted appraisers, are not able to resolve your situation or your concerns, your problems, then that's when the Board of Equalization and Review comes up. Also, I would just like to mention that this whole thing was facilitated by the fact that our ratios had gotten so far out of whack. The state of North Carolina expressed concern and essentially, for lack of a better term, very strongly encouraged this revaluation to take place. And that's why we did it on a 4-year cycle instead of our standard 8-year cycle. Our intention, I believe the intention of this board would be to go back to an 8-year cycle, but that's all going to depend on how how the real estate market reacts over the course of the next couple of years. We are already budgeting for a reval in 8 years, but our ratios could get out of whack again, and the state could come back to us and say, guess what, guys, it's another 4-year cycle. So we're going to do our best to try to take care of, make sure that we're good stewards of what's going on in the county as far as the tax standpoint goes. But obviously, some things are beyond our control, and we can't control the real estate market. Unfortunately, because of COVID, a lot of people in the United States and foreign countries as well found out that Madison County and North Carolina both are good places to try to go in a time of crisis. So we benefit from the same thing that also can be a curse. So I'll leave that at this point for everybody else. Vice Chairman, would you got any comments you'd like to make?
It's a good job. Our staff is slowly learning this. We're painful to deal with. I'd be the first to admit that. Sometimes it's entertaining when you come and sit through the budget sessions to see all the conversation. At the end of the day, it's a good product. We try to balance. We've got 300 employees who are trying to make a living when the rate of inflation is astronomical. It's as much as 35% for some items, 15% for most items. So, we're talking about a meager salary increase, but it has a huge impact on their lives. So trying to maintain that balance, making sure that they have good benefits, making sure we retain good people. We have good employees in this county. The department heads have done a really good job of treating your money like theirs. I think all of them are very conscientious about how their departments spend the money and how they save money, and they take a lot of pride in that. It's always interesting to see that pride, to say that we're doing everything we can to do our part to save money and to make money. We have several different departments that actually generate revenue, and they work hard to do that. And so I'm appreciative of that. Also appreciative of the colonel. We ride him pretty heavy. He's a colonel, so we figure he can take it. But at the end of the day, he and Carrie and Mandy and Brandy and Amanda, that whole group worked extremely hard, a lot of hours to try to present data to us and facts to us, to meet with the department heads, to come up with a budget that makes the 5 of us happy enough to at least approve it. So overall, employees received some extra benefit. Taxpayers didn't take a beating over it. Some of you, and I'll be one of those, my taxes will go up this year. It's just my property's worth more, but I'm glad to pay to ensure that the services we provide for those, even services I don't use, but I have a responsibility to support, so I'll pay my share. Good job, excellent work, and I'm very satisfied with it.
And I'll make one correction to the Colonel's comments. There, I believe, were 6 county employees that did not get any raise whatsoever, if I remember correctly.
Yes, sir.
And 5 of those are sitting up here at the front desk. And that's not to say, it's not to ask for anybody's pity or anything like that. It's just that's how strongly we felt that we needed to do our part to help make a balanced budget, but also make sure that that the maximum amount that we could free up for our employees went to our employees. And so,
Well, I will say too, the budget went up. That's growth in government, and that galls me every time I look at that. But then I go back and I look at the last 11 years, and I see the average, and so we're moving it. We're growing less than the average. I don't know, maybe that's government math, Chairman, but either way, we're trying to grow it as little as possible, but still meet the service needs. So it's a good job to all of you.
So at this time, with a thankful heart to our staff and to the Colonel, I would entertain a motion that we approve the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget ordinance as presented by the Colonel.
So move.
Got a motion by Vice Chairman Garrison. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner White. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, at this time we'll move to a vote. All in favor? All right. Your draft budget is a draft budget no more. Yes, sir. Thank you guys for your work. Up next on the agenda is a public hearing in regards to participation by minority business aspirational percentage goal policy. And unlike the unfunded mandates we discussed a minute ago, this is just a mandate. It has no funding demand. So Colonel, will you please explain for the benefit of the public what we're doing?
Yes, sir. Whenever we're in receipt of state appropriated money and it's going towards a project that exceeds $100,000, we have to have a 10%. The state recommends the minimum of a 10% participation by minority businesses. The state sets a variable at 10%. Applies to projects that cost more than $100,000. This goal must be annotated on an RFQ, RFP that has state appropriated money for it to be valid. And from that point, I'll defer to the attorney to anything to clean up there.
You said, we probably have one of those. This has been a requirement in the statute from all the way back in the 1980s. And there's been lots of Madison County construction projects during that era. Mandy did just a quick search. We could not lay our hands exactly on where the policy was. So just to be safe, given that we're heading into some major projects here, that we have that policy of record. We may very well have it. This is more or less to safeguard and make sure that there is one there.
Well, then going forward, this will be our policy moving forward anyway,
Yes.
so.
It's a pretty well standard policy, an aspirational goal of 10%. In fact, as we have bid out several projects beforehand, we always put in our RFQ or an RFP to meet the minority aspirational goals. The statute requires a policy, so just to be safe, given that we could not lay our hands on it, we wanted one to be adopted, especially before we sign any kind of contract on a $60 million courthouse project.
Very good. So we've heard from county manager and also our county attorney. At this time, we have another opportunity for public comment. Again, this public comment portion would be specifically and only speaking to the aspirational percentage goal policy for minority-owned businesses in construction projects for the county. And again, nobody signed up for this prior to the meeting. However, pursuant to our rules for a public hearing of this nature, I will open up the floor at this time. If there's anyone, any member of the public that is with us here this evening that would like to speak specifically to this policy, please indicate to us that you would like to speak and make your way to the podium at this time, where you will have 3 minutes for public comment. Seeing no activity and hearing no one speak up, I will entertain a motion that we close the public comment portion of this hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hensley, second by Commissioner Wyatt. Any discussion? Hearing none, move to a vote. All in favor? Public comment is closed. Y'all are a quiet bunch tonight. Nobody at home's gonna even think anybody was here tonight. All righty. So this time, I will entertain a motion that we approve the policy as presented by the county manager and county attorney.
So move.
Motion by Vice Chairman Garrison. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hensley. Any discussion? Only discussion I will make is that this is an aspirational goal. It is not a requirement. It is a goal that we will do our best to adhere to, but in some cases, because due to geographical limitations and population, we might not be able to meet that goal. But we're going to do our best to make sure that we that we at least try. So, any additional discussion at this time? Hearing none, we'll go to a vote. All in favor? All right, we've got a policy. Up next on the agenda is Developmental Services Director Brad Guth with an Economic Development Advisory Board recommendation. Podium is yours, Mr. Guth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. You have in your packet a recommendation from the Economic Development Board. Our current chairman, Ryan Cooney, is leaving to take a new position, and he's vacating his chairmanship. And according to our bylaws, the Board of Commissioners is who selects the chairman, and the board has recommended that our vice chair, Forrest Gillen, be nominated for that position.
And Ryan's situation, just without violating anybody's privacy or anything like that, is going to require him to spend a great deal of time in Raleigh. And he
Yes,
doesn't,
he
he doesn't
is-
feel like he can.
I have the press release here if you'd like me to share
Well,
what he's doing, because it's not private anymore.
Yeah, let's recognize
Sure.
one of our
I
own
would like
for
to
their
do that.
success.
So, Ryan is going to be the executive director of the North Carolina Licensing Board for General Contractors.
Wow, okay.
Fantastic.
And yes, he is having to move to Raleigh to do that. So,
All right, so while we congratulate Ryan on quite an accomplishment, the country kid going to the big city, we'll see if they can beat the country out of the kid or not. We're going to do, but hopefully they don't. And when the time comes, we will welcome Ryan Cody back with open arms, and we congratulate him for that. At this time, it is the will of the Economic Development Board, of which Vice Chairman Garrison is the commission representative on that board. According to what has been presented, Mr. Vice Chairman, is that the will of that board, sir?
It is, and I so move we accept the recommendation to make Forrest Gilliam the board chair.
So we have a motion by Vice Chairman Garrison. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wyatt to make Forrest Gilliam. I've worked with the guy for years. How can I not? Everybody's pronouncing his name differently. Now you guys got me crossed up. To recognize or to make Forrest Gilliam the new director of the new chairman of the Economic Development Board. Any discussion? Hearing none. I'm sorry.
What about the vice president? Or the vice chairman,
I think the board.
Board does that, okay.
Yes, sir.
So just, it is, I think by the rules, it's just our position to name the chairman, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, any additional discussion? Hearing none, move to a vote. All in favor of Forrest Gilliam becoming the chairman of the Economic Development Advisory Board, signify by raising your right hand. It is unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Congratulations, Forrest. I'm sure you're watching at home. And good luck to Ryan. Up next on our agenda is Finance Officer Carrie Ledford.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
So before you tonight, find budget amendment number 12. This amendment records the revenue brought in by donations from the Friends of the Library to the library in the amount of $1,458.79. Also the recording of additional interest with which funds will be used for capital equipment, services, dues for the GIS, as well as adding to our contingency. The Department of Social Services received a grant from Land to Sky in the amount of $60,000. And here too, the recording of additional revenue generated by the quarter-cent sales tax for the Madison County Board of Education in the amount of $40,400.82.
It's down quite a bit this month, isn't it? Okay.
Sir.
And bottom line is, if I'm looking at the numbers correctly, we are adding $572,000 to contingency. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Good month.
Yes, sir.
So why is that 572,000 under the debt instead of the credit side of that contingency fund?
Because it is considered an expense, so you are increasing the expense line. So when you're adding money to your contingency, it's considered an expense, so that's a debit to your expense line.
Okay.
It took me about 5 years to get used to
To
that. Yeah. Sometimes I still have to question her.
So if we take it out, where does it go? It don't go none of the credit side then, obviously.
You could, if you want to use it, is that what you mean?
Yeah, if you wanna take it out.
You would decrease that, this expense, and then you would increase the opposite expense line. So for instance, the Z-Tron contract that you just signed, we will have to take money from your contingency
Yeah.
to pay for the first portion of that contract. Did that answer your question,
Right.
Commissioner?
Stop by Elizabeth Lane, she'll give you a crash course in it.
Ain't got time.
She and the cat can, she and the cat can give you some coaching. Any other questions? Hearing none, at this time I entertain a motion that we approve budget amendment number 12.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wise, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hensley, any discussion? Hearing none, move to a vote, all in favor? All right, budget amendment passes. And financial report?
Yes, sir, the May's financial reports. Right now, we're at 91.64% done with FY '24. You'll see that for our general fund, we've received 89.06 in revenues, and our expenses are at 72.89%.
We've got some, and that was with several cars hitting
That's correct.
hitting the books this past month, correct?
That's
For the
correct.
sheriff's department and other departments as well, correct?
That's correct.
So that's good, again, a good month. Anybody have any questions? You're off the hook. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, item number 8, and that's our county manager, Colonel Rod Honeycutt.
Gentlemen, 8A, the only thing I've got to share with you that Madam Clerk put in front of you, the cards that will go to print tomorrow, pending your approval for any adjustments for the tax and property reevaluation. It lists the dates of when the board and ER will meet. It lists the phone numbers and where to download your forms from, and the phone calls, and where to look up your property tax cards at. I think that's about the most information we can put on a small pocket card for you to hand out. We'll order those tomorrow and have them digitally on it.
Does this go in the evaluation that's mailed out and the tax?
Now, this is just for you to hand out as you're having a conversation.
Wouldn't it be good to put this in?
The notice contains all that information. Contains all that. We took that off the notice.
Can we put a little asterisk somewhere in a thing that says call first?
It's a,
Because I mean, we got this. Ultimately, what we really wanted to do,
put it on the back, big letters, call first.
what we wanted to call and speak with the representatives.
Yeah, maybe list out the steps, first step 1, and if you have questions or concerns about your revaluation, first and foremost, contact the tax office.
It says it on there. It says for questions or to schedule.
I know that's small.
Yeah, but
I've got my reading glasses on and it's small.
ultimately, that's really what I'm more concerned with than the schedule. They can get
For questions.
I'm wanting to understand the process. Hey,
Call
call.
first.
You got a question about your call.
Maybe put the schedule on the back and put the other information on the front a little bit bigger so that it stands out more. If I could make a recommendation, I know it's gonna cost a little more to print cards on both sides. But I think that would be, obviously we want, what's most critical is that they talk to the appraisers before the appraisers leave town. I mean, that's gonna be the fastest, most effective way to get any changes made. And I'm gonna preach it till the end, right now. I mean, I need everybody to understand this. The fastest and most effective way to get your problem solved is to talk to the appraisers before they leave town. Then step 2 is to see if the tax office can help you. If the tax office can't help you, your third step is to come to the Board of Equalization and Review and stand in front of our commissioners and talk to us and try to explain to us why it needs needs to be adjusted.
That's really what this card should say, is
Right.
those steps.
And then the fourth thing, if you still don't get any resolution, you go to Raleigh and appeal to the, I believe, the Supreme Court. Is that right, Don?
The property tax.
Or property, yeah, I'm sorry, Property Tax Commission. I'm sorry, that was a stupid question. I'm sorry. I knew that. My bad.
Then you go to the Supreme Court.
Okay, I knew they factored in somewhere.
Court.
But, I mean, you know, I think ultimately, I think that's what we want to really try to drive home, is those steps. And then, but the schedule is good. I mean, I say that's
That's good for us.
yeah, that's good for us. So we
Call first.
remember where we need to be.
I'm
We'll
gonna
make
give a bump
it-
sticker, call first.
We'll make the adjustments and send them out to you. I'll do this tomorrow. Way ahead.
No worries. Do we have any idea when those revals are going out? We've heard in 2 weeks for 2 months.
Friday is the last day. Tyler Technologies will be working on any property cards. Farragut was here on the 11th. They should do their first run and begin mailing early next week.
Excellent, excellent. Very good. Thank you, Colonel. Is that the only item for your county manager update?
No, sir. Moving to
Okay.
8B. Yes, sir. Moving to 8B is the board appointments. Have 3. First is the AB Tech Board of Trustees, appointing Francis Ramsey from the Mars Hill Community, term was 4 years. And Francis Ramsey is a recommendation for that one.
That was a recommendation from AB Tech. That was also, Francis has been a representative on the AB Tech board and has served diligently and religiously for many years. Commissioner Garrison, you also serve on that board. Is that the will of that board to reappoint Ms. Ramsey?
We would definitely, it would behoove us to put Ms. Ramsey back on that board. She loves the work, she's good at it. When there's a battle that needs to take place, she has the tenacity to engage. And she's constantly advocating for Madison campus and Madison programs. She is a huge asset on the board.
Very good. This time, will you make that in form of motion?
I do.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hensley. Okay. You're getting real good at talking without moving your mouth over there. It's kind of hard for me.
That's good.
We got the ventriloquism thing getting ready to happen over there. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Just like to say she's one of my favorite, all-time favorite high school teachers. One of the best.
That must have been the only class you got an A in.
I don't know if I got an A or not,
Okay.
but man, she was good.
All right.
She was good.
Very good. Ms. Ramsey's a fine individual. I've known her for many years, and I echo all you guys' sentiments on that. We've got a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, move to a vote. All in favor? All right, we reappoint Francis Ramsey to the AB Tech Board of Trustees. Colonel?
All right, next is the Transportation Advisory Board. This is for a provider. Edward Wilson is currently in seat and recommended reappointment.
I think that the Transportation Authority Advisory Board has requested that that position be held.
I see it now. Hold employment pending receipt of other applications.
Correct. Now, I don't think that Dan, he goes by Dan, and I don't think Dan has actually done an application yet, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's actually probably the problem, because there are no other private transit providers in the county outside of Dan that we're aware of. If there is one, make yourself known, please.
Joe, moving to the last one, the Transportation Authority Advisory Board of Transit Rider. One application for Harry McMahon.
All right, I'll make that, well, Bill, you want to do that, don't you? Go ahead.
I'll second.
All right, well, I'll make that in the form of a motion that we put Mr. McMahon on there, and is there a second? Second by Commissioner Briggs. Any discussion? Hearing none, move to a vote. All in favor? Bill, you vote? Okay, all right, sorry.
You set up so high, you look over.
I'm sorry, I just didn't,
I'm gonna have to-
I didn't catch you out of my peripheral vision there.
Well, these are brave.
All right, so that was unanimous. Any others, Colonel?
Joe, I believe that completes.
All right. Let's see, up next, Colonel, is opioid litigation.
And, Jim, I'm going to defer to the county attorney to give you a quick update on the opioid litigation.
There is like we've looked in the past, there are additional defendants that are coming forward wanting to do the settlements. And as they come in, the boards have to agree to be part of the settlement. I think we did one last month with one of them. We've got another one that's coming up. I think we have until July, is it maybe July to opt in on that one? And there might be other ones. I would recommend that we do that. In fact, I would recommend that maybe if you want to keep bringing these on, or if you just want to give me a blanket authority to opt in on all of the ones as they come forward, that'll be your choice, and then I can inform you as they do come up. But I foresee a lot of folks wanting to get in on this train as the settlements are coming in. I don't know, Carrie's here, we've got a pretty good fund of opioid money now, don't we?
We do, and I can tell you what it is right now. I have it written, I thought Commissioner Hensley would ask. Right now, we have $619,057.
You keep getting money in on it's just gonna keep going, so.
Chairman Wickle, I move that we authorize our county attorney to engage in and, what would be the term you want to use, Tony?
To opt in on any future settlements in the national opioid litigation.
That's my motion.
As he sees fit.
And of course, the chairman and Mandy are both on the, what happens is that we get notices as new folks opt in. I think Mandy and the chairman and myself we receive those notices of when action needs to be taken. So the chairman will always know that something's coming up, and you did get this most recent notice.
I did. Matter of fact, I don't know, I wasn't sure that Mandy was carbon copied on it, so I carbon copied you and Mandy.
And you always send me a notice. Did you get the?
No, just as kind of a fail-safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a motion.
Mandy, you normally get carbon copied on that? So-
I typically get it straight from the opioid
Okay,
litigation.
all right, so I don't need to, I just need to communicate that directly with Rob. so
We know
it's
you're
done.
reading your emails, Chairman.
No, it's all good. Very good. Okay, so we have, we've got a motion by Vice Chairman Garrison. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hensley. Any discussion? Hearing none, we're voting to opt into this most recent round of settlement, and also we are authorizing the county attorney to act on any additional opt-ins that come down the pipe as we go forward, as long as he sees that it's in our best interest to do so. Any discussion? Hearing none, move to a vote. All in favor? Okay. Thank you, Bill. I saw you that time.
Thank you.
All right. So that ends everything. That ends our public portion of the agenda at this time. I will entertain a motion that we go into closed session for personnel under North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A6, and that is for personnel and personnel only. Do I hear
So
that?
moved.
We got that we got a motion from Commissioner White. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hensley. Any discussion? Hearing none, go to a vote. All in favor? All right. We will go into closed session after a 5-minute recess. How's that? Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. All right, so we have a motion by Vice Chairman Garrison, second by Commissioner Wyatt, that we return to open session. All in favor? All right, we are now back in open session. At this time, there's no further business to come before this board. I would entertain a motion that we adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wyatt, second by Commissioner Hensley. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor? We stand adjourned.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.